every marriage that has a serious problem, without exception, on an emotional level, the husband looks to his wife in his wife's eyes like a cat. Now, she doesn't think of a cat, but she looks at it in a way of a lack of trust. She doesn't trust your actions. It looks like an act. It looks like you're faking. She doesn't trust your changes, or she doesn't trust your changes are going to stay. If there's something in what you're doing, maybe what you're saying, maybe it's in something you're not doing or saying, which is resulting in her to emotionally disconnect from the effort that you're making. The reality is, on an emotional level, she may find it manipulative. You may look even selfish or controlling or sometimes desperate. The bottom line is, it will block her from feeling loved. It's a new year, 2024. As the year wraps up, especially around holiday time, there's a sense of, where am I? How far is my life? Is my relationship? Is all the work that I've put into myself and my family, is it giving me the fruit that I want? Am I getting the benefits that I want? Not in a selfish way, but do I have the marriage that I want? Am I the father that I want to be? Am I the husband? Am I the financial provider? It's very normal at this time of the year for people to do this introspection. But here's the thing. Typically, about January 8th, people stop following the resolution. Whatever the resolution is, I want to make more money. I want to build more muscle. I want to lose more weight. I want to do meditation. I want to become a better person. Whatever that thing is, most people stop at about January 7, January 8. That's what the research shows. That's not my contribution. It's a pretty famous thing. You can Google it online and check it out. Now, when it comes to marriage, though, the fact is that if you have a happy, healthy intimacy, a deep emotional connection with your wife and your kids, it will juice you. It will make any other goal that you're trying to accomplish, any other agenda, any other vision that you have for yourself, whether it's personal or professional, it makes it so much more attainable and within reach and more fun to accomplish when you have that support, when you have that love, when you have that connection, that alignment within your most important relationship in your life. Now is a good time for us to reflect on it. And the fact is that there are many, God knows, I don't know how many, there must be hundreds of Facebook groups or YouTube channels or blogs and forums where men go for support for their marriage, for their relationship, for dating. There's all sorts of support groups for men. Not every group is the same. And it's actually very important because you want to make sure you're in the right place. You want to make sure you're getting the support that you need. And for some guys, you may watch this video and say, hey, I need another group, and that's fine. I'm sure you'll find a place because some groups really are dialed in on helping you become a better person only. And some groups are designed to help you navigate divorce. Our group is very unique in the sense what we're trying to accomplish is to help a guy build an entire blueprint of who you are and really strategically and scientifically extract the best version of who you are as a man, as a husband, as a father, and from there to reconcile with your wife. From there to communicate to her the best version of you in a strategic, in an intelligent, and not in a manipulative way. It's powerful, it's exciting, it is not pain-free. Typically, by the time somebody comes to get help for the marriage, they've gone through many years of trying to do it on their own. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about what we do over here and why we do it the way we do it. So number one, our group is, if I have to sum it up, if I have to go straight to the point, and you said, David, say it in 10 seconds, our group is for guys who want to go deep. This is what our group is here for. This is my purpose. This is my mission. This is my vision. It's for guys who want to go deep. What does that mean? Going deep means you want to understand what is going on in your marriage. You're not just looking for advice. You're not just looking for, tell me what to do. We're separated. What do I do when we're separated? Or what do I do when we haven't been intimate in 3 months? Or what do I do when my wife disrespects me? Or what do I do when my wife is ignoring me? That's not the correct question. The correct question is to go behind the scenes and understand why is it happening. And there are some men who genuinely don't care about why it's happening. They just want to solve the problem. And that's not what we do. Yes, we do solve the problem. We do work on it. We have a program. We have everything you need for that. However, the prerequisite is the desire to go deep. And the reason why this is so important is because if you don't have a genuine interest or the character to want to go deep, you're going to take bits and pieces from strategies all over the place, a little bit from here, a little bit from me, a little bit from a guy in the Facebook group that's divorced and you don't even know it. Another guy is recovering from a porn addiction and he's giving you advice and you don't even realize it. And you're going to take a little bit from another YouTube channel, from another Facebook guru, from another marriage expert, try to put it all together, and then wonder why it doesn't work. Now, when you have a genuine desire to go deep, you realize you spend the time studying and asking questions and understanding why is it that the effort that you've invested in reconnecting with your wife emotionally and intimately, why it hasn't worked. What has been driving you apart to begin with? And this is very important because you have to get to the causes, not the symptoms. There are many symptoms in a painful marriage. There could be extreme symptoms such as affairs, such as separation, such as divorce. It's a painful symptom. It's a symptom, it's not the main problem. There could be lower symptoms such as disrespect, lack of intimacy, arguing in front of the kids. There's all sorts of symptoms. The guys who I've seen have the biggest success are the guys who say, I want to go deep. I want to understand what are the causes. For example, a major fundamental area that needs to be understood is you have 100% unconditional love for your wife and she doesn't feel it and trust it. That's a major issue. That's not a symptom. That's a major fundamental problem. That if you solve that, it resolves many problems on its own. Or why is it that my wife has the wrong opinion of me? It takes time to understand it, to explore it. We have quite a few videos over here which are free, which anybody can watch. And then we have obviously a lot in our back-end program, hands-on support, where I work with guys to help them unlock this. But you have to have the desire to really figure this out, because otherwise you're going to get tripped up by bad information, by misinformation, and you're going to screw up, to put it frankly. The type of guy that has benefited the most from our group is a guy that has made a decision that I want to stop guessing. I don't want to keep guessing my way towards recapturing and rekindling the love in my marriage, because guessing is actually a big part of the problem. And we've spoken about it in other times, and we went deep on it. And today I'm going to go on a basic level, because there's a lot more I want to cover. Imagine just sitting in a restaurant and you had a cat serving you. A cat, it brings you your meal, it understands, it can't talk, but it brings you whatever you ordered. Would you say thank you to the cat? For real, would you genuinely appreciate the cat? Make believe. If you need to, close your eyes, okay? Work with me over here. Close your eyes. Imagine you're sitting in a restaurant and the cat is serving you a meal. Course after course, and everything you say it does. It can't talk, but it could act. Would you feel gratitude for the cat, or would it feel amusing? Let me know in the comments. Would you feel appreciation? Would you feel that the cat is caring about you, or you feel the cat is somehow programmed, that it's just acting, somebody is telling it what to do, it's being trained, but it doesn't really understand what it's doing? Okay? Let me know. This is an important question, and the reason why this is so important is because this is not just cute, it's happening in every deeply distressed marriage. Every marriage that has a serious problem, without exception, on an emotional level, the husband looks to his wife in his wife's eyes like a cat. Now, she doesn't think of a cat, but she looks at it in a way of a lack of trust. She doesn't trust your actions. It looks like an act. It looks like you're faking. She doesn't trust your changes, or she doesn't trust your changes are going to stay. If there's something in what you're doing, maybe what you're saying, maybe it's in something you're not doing or saying, which is resulting in her to emotionally disconnect from the effort that you're making. So you can be loving and caring and serving and giving and doing things around the house and being a good provider and telling her you love her, but the reality is, on an emotional level, she will have the same appreciation you will have for a cat. You may find it amusing, but you won't actually feel the cat cares about you. You won't actually care that the cat is serving you. She won't find it amusing. She may find it manipulative. In her eyes, you may look like you're manipulating her. You may look even selfish or controlling or sometimes desperate. The bottom line is, it will block her from feeling love. The reason why I'm going down this path to explain this is because guessing, when you guess your way towards marriage reconciliation, towards recapturing the part of her heart that fell in love with you, what is going to happen on an emotional level is that she will not appreciate your effort, because she senses on an emotional level that you're guessing. So yeah, she doesn't think cat because she never heard the example I gave you. But on an emotional level, she senses that what you're doing is an act. Even if it's not really an act, even if you really do care about her. But my point is, guessing is dangerous. And our group over here is for guys who understand this, who understand that guessing is dangerous. And they understand that they want to have a skill set that they can see for themselves what is going on in the relationship. How to detect small problems in their relationship while it's small and easy to fix before it blows up. How they can interpret their wife and see what she's saying that really matters and what she's saying that doesn't really matter, just a result of their history, the drama, the pain, the disconnect, the misunderstanding. That is a skill. And a lot of guys actually will say that they want that skill, but they don't really. Because the reality is, you have this in a lot of Facebook groups where we have a situation where the blind are leading the blind. Guys are thrown into a Facebook group and many other groups, and they're just like, everybody's giving each other advice. And I've seen it in our group as well. Giving advice is very dangerous. Context matters. Situation matters. I'll give you a couple of examples. So I'll talk to a guy, find out my situation, and this guy, I'm giving one example of one person, but this has happened many times. He admits to me, I've been emotionally disconnected, I've been selfish, I've been self-absorbed in my marriage, 10, 15 years. Now I'm working to fix it. Whatever. And he wants to do it by himself. For whatever reason, we don't end up working together. He's working on his own. 3 months later, I see he's giving advice to everybody. Now, I know what he's going through in his marriage, and I cannot call him out because I'm going to protect his information. Okay? I'm going to do that. But I see he's giving advice to other guys. And 4 months later, he then says he's getting divorced. He's done. He's done working on his marriage. Okay? That has happened many times. Or I'll have a guy, I talk to him, we dig, we find out he has a history of alcohol addiction, drug addiction, in many cases pornography addiction. The implication for a marriage is huge. Besides the fact that you got to do certain things to heal yourself from addiction before you work in a marriage, the strategy you're going to use for the marriage, to heal the marriage, if you had addiction present, is very, very different than if you didn't have an addiction present. And then I see that guy giving advice as well, telling people to do certain things that would fit him, but doesn't fit somebody else. Okay? Are you guys getting this? There's a reason why one of the group rules over here is don't give somebody else advice. Share what worked for you. Explain your situation as best as possible. Give people hope. Be positive. Don't criticize anybody else. Don't say anything negative about someone else's situation or their wife or themselves. Share. But don't tell someone what to do because it's actually quite dangerous. I'll give you another example. Separation is almost always harmful for a relationship. There are sometimes some exceptions where it is good. Very rare. Most of the times, separation, when a couple agree to separate, it's usually the first silent stage of divorce. You'll have some guys who may come in and say, oh, I did it, and for whatever reason, it worked for me. 90% of the time, it actually does not work. I'll give you an idea of why. I'll give you one example so you guys can wrap your heads around and let me know if this makes sense to you. In a situation where the guy is more frustrated than the woman, in other words, he's in more pain than her, it really gets tricky. Okay, so I'll speak in a general sense. Every marriage has a point where the woman is more upset than the guy. In other words, if there's a problematic marriage, usually the woman will be more upset first, and then later on the guy will get more upset. Why? Because the guy doesn't realize there's a problem for many years. Let me know in the comments if you've been through this, you know what I'm talking about, where your wife was upset for a long period of time, 3 years, 5 years, 7 years, 6 months, whatever it is, before you realize it was a problem. In that stage, separation might be helpful. The problem is once it gets to the stage of where the guy is more frustrated, in other words, that the woman has already made an ultimatum, or she's already put her foot down, she's the one insisting on a separation, most of the times when the woman initiates separation, it is not going to be good for the marriage. Because it means that the guy is now getting more scared, she is more done, she is fed up, she has reached her limit, and the reason why she's doing separation is typically to explore how she feels without him around. And usually she'll feel less drama, less tension, less stress. It is making sense? To go in and tell somebody, hey, just work on yourself. Do separation. Do a trial separation. Go to counseling. Without context, it's actually unsafe. There's a reason why marriage counseling fails 90% of the time. We have many videos explaining that. You can check it out in the resource section. I'm not going to go through it now. So the guys who do well in this group are the guys who understand these concepts. And you may decide you may need another group where you just want to give advice and just try it out. Even though I've said what I've said. Ultimately, turning around a marriage is a complicated thing. You need two different processes going on at the same time. You need one process to turn around yourself as a husband, that you should develop the skills that you could see the most important things in your marriage, and you could realize what are her most important needs without having to interview her and interrogate her, or argue with her, or debate with her, without having to just do everything she says and do her to-do list to try to please her. That is a skill you got to develop on your own. It has nothing to do with talking to her. It's a skill you could develop on your own. Many, many guys have done it over here. And then there's a skill of how do I interact with her? How do I communicate my changes to her? How do I sabotage the divorce process, the separation process? How do I initiate conversations with her? How do I maintain conversations with her? How do I apologize? How do I show her I appreciate her without her feeling like I'm manipulating her? There's a whole different strategy that needs to be used. Now, these two strategies are important that they don't conflict, but they are kind of separate. And that is what we focus on here. And yes, obviously, I do have a paid program where I work with guys, and I do promote it, and I feel like it's the best thing in the world. And a lot of my free content is better than a lot of the content of other people's paid programs. And the way I know that is because that's the feedback I've been getting from my clients. So I do promote my program, and if for whatever reason it makes you feel uncomfortable, this might not be a group for you. You may just need a free group where everybody just gives advice to each other. But the guys who have done well over here and have really turned around their lives and their wives and their families are guys who understand that they have to stop guessing, they have to go deep, they have to identify what are the things that they're doing that makes them look like a cat, whatever that means emotionally. Desperate, disconnected, selfish, manipulative, controlling. When I say cat, it's a picture, it's an image. But what it does mean is that whatever she's saying is not what you think you are or who you're presenting yourself to be. That is a fundamental piece. That takes time to pick up. Not a lot of time. Like when I'm working with a guy hands-on, it doesn't take a lot of time. but it is an important piece. But what the group over here was designed was to first get men to understand the challenges that they're facing, to first understand a lot of the mistakes you're making, and that you can get just from the free content itself. You get a tremendous amount of clarity, and in fact, I've even seen people have some significant turnarounds in their marriage if they don't have marriage cancer. If you don't have marriage cancer, just the free videos themselves will do wonders for your marriage. It happens all the time. If you do have marriage cancer, it may be temporary and then reverse, and there's a reason for that. Watch the marriage cancer video in the resource section. You'll understand what I'm talking about. So the vision I have is rather help and work with a small amount of guys who are really, really committed to changing themselves, leading their families, leading their wives, leading their lives, and becoming their best version, than just dispensing generic advice to everybody, although there's a lot of good advice you will pick up automatically just by watching a lot of our videos. If you do want to explore getting help, of learning these skills, of identifying where you're showing up like a cat without realizing it, of seeing what is it that you're saying or doing which is blocking her from feeling unconditional love. Why is she stuck with the wrong picture of you in her head? Well, how do you pick up the small things in your marriage, like the small problems in your relationship, well, small and easy to fix? If you really do want to pick up those skills, you can type 2024 on the bottom of this video. That means that's your vision for 2024, and we'll reach out to you and have a conversation. It's not for guys who are just looking for a quick tip or technique or a trick. That's not what we do, because if you do that, what's going to happen is your wife, I promise you, is going to feel manipulated. That has already been happening in your marriage. If you have an attitude of, just tell me something quick to do, and we're going through the divorce process, what do I do to change her mind? Nobody can say that. Nobody can tell you what to do. And if they did, they're doing you a disservice. They're being dishonest, because they're not truly understanding the context and the situation and the history. And whatever you do, even if it temporarily works, is eventually going to backfire. So if you do want some real change on a personal level, to pick up these skills and apply it into your marriage, to get the customized strategic support, to get the emotional support, to get the ins and outs, how to navigate, how to apply it, how to know when you're off, how to interact with her, how to communicate your changes to her, how to communicate to her about the past, about your changes, about your transformation, how to apologize. There's so many different skills to learn over here, but they're deep skills. If you want that, type 2024. I'll tell you something else, and we'll wrap up with this point. This is an interesting thing. The difference when it comes to assessing a marriage, when I speak with somebody before they become a client, we assess. Could we help them? Could we not help them? If yes, how do we do it? 20% of the assessment is on the marriage itself. How long are you married? It's the first marriage, second marriage, the connection you have with your wife, what you've done for her, the good things you've done for her. There's a lot of, do you have kids together? Do you live together? Are you divorced or separated? Is there a history of addiction, psychiatric disorder? There's a whole bunch of factors. But 80% of the assessment is actually based on your personality. What type of man are you? What type of character do you have? What type of integrity do you have? What type of discipline? What type of awareness? What type of desire to have awareness do you have? Because I've seen guys with easier marriage cancer before the separation struggle very much in their marriage, even though they have an easier marriage to fix. And I've seen guys with marriage cancer stage 3, where the wife is already, where they're separated, the wife already has an affair. The divorce process is already in place. And I've seen them turn around the marriages faster. Sometimes. Again, it depends on the personality of the husband, because 80% of the factor of turning around a marriage is not so much about the wife. It's about your ability to learn these skills, apply these skills, and genuinely want to become a better person, but not just guessing your way towards becoming a better person, but strategically unlocking the exact part of your personality that will shine in a very intelligent way, not in a guessing way, not in a way that makes you look like clueless, but in a way that actually aligns with the way God created you to be. And in a way that makes it impossible for your wife to think that you're manipulating her. It's not so much about how difficult your marriage is. It is important. Strategy will change based on it. But the bigger factor is, who are you as a man? Who are you? You could be dealing with separation and divorce or a restraining order and have an easier time fixing it than someone else who's still sleeping in the same room, same bed as his wife. Because it will depend on your personality, on your character. I've seen that over and over again. So I hope that gives some of you some hope, and it was nice to connect with you. I look forward to seeing your comments, questions, takeaways, what you got from this video training. And I'm looking forward to having a fantastic 2024 with you guys over here. I look forward to helping you guys cross your goals towards a great year, hearing your wins, hearing your victories, and I will catch you later. Take care.